Hey everybody, it's Mark Lettieri here, back with JamPlay.com, and we're in a new module. That's right. This set of lessons is going to pertain to grooves, rhythms, techniques for those grooves, and overall time feel. Okay? A lot of the stuff we do is going to have kind of maybe a bit of a funk lean, obviously, but the techniques that we talk about you can use in any kind of music. So pay attention to a lot of the nuances that we talk about because it's going to be really important for the way you approach really any kind of rhythm. In this lesson, I wanted to talk about some muting techniques and some ghost note ideas. For those of you that don't know what a ghost note is, it's like a note that's there, but it's not really there, in the sense that it's kind of almost like a passing rhythm, a passing tone that hints at a note that you don't necessarily hear, but you feel. Okay, so we're going to talk about that in depth, and I think probably a good place to start is thinking about which hand is doing what. Okay, so with your right hand, if you're playing a groove, let's say I just play this groove here on this D9th chord. Okay, so with this groove, there's a couple things that are happening. One, the most important thing to notice about what's going on is there's a swing feel in this. We're not swinging like jazz swinging necessarily, but these 16th notes that I'm playing have a bounce to them. They have a triplet feel to them, right? So that's really important to keep in mind because check it out. There's a big difference between this and this. Those are straight 16th notes versus swung 16th notes. So let's do that one more time. I'll slow it down so you can hear it even more. And as you notice, I'm not actually playing the chord itself. I'm just playing these mutes, or they're kind of like ghost notes, not quite yet. Mostly just mutes, right? So I'm muting with my left hand. The strings are not being pressed. They're just sort of being touched upon by my fingertips, but I'm not depressing them onto the frets yet. So here's that swing feel. See, there's different emphases, right? Emphases. It's a hard word to say. Right? That's how you get that feel, that bounce, that swing, right? Versus straight. Now the emphasis are still there on those downbeats, but the 16th notes in between are more even, right? The difference between the dynamics of the 16th notes and the downbeats are a lot closer, right? So you get that sort of straight feel. So even right there, with your right hand, you're automatically now able to play two different feels in the same kind of groove almost, if you want to look at it that way. So let's get to the ghost note side of things. Okay, let's say I want to play maybe a single note riff, something like this. Okay, so that's a cool little riff, but if I wanted to ghost some of those notes, it's kind of the same concept of this right hand and left hand muting. So for a couple of these notes, say maybe A on the D string, instead of actually pressing down, I'm gonna pull up, right? So I'm not actually really gonna fret the note, and that's gonna create that little ghost note, right? So you end up with something like this. You can do it on, what I'm doing now is I'm doing it on both A and B. So you hear the difference? One's real obvious, one's not. So the A and B are like barely felt. They're there, but they're not quite there, right? And the way I'm doing that, muting a little harder with my right hand down here on the bridge by the saddles, and then also muting with my left hand by just bringing my fingers off of the fretboard, or bringing the strings off of the fretboard, but my fingertips are still touching the strings. That's exactly what I'm doing when I'm playing these chords too. If you're watching my left hand, for all those little chukka-chukkas, my fingers are still touching the strings, they're just not pressing on the fretboard. So if I want to put both of those parts together, it would end up with something like this. Right, so we've got a feel now that has a little bit of swing, and it has these kind of muted ghost notes that really what they do, they don't really add tonality, they just add feel, right? Because a lot of what makes cool rhythm guitar parts or rhythm bass parts or keyboards or whatever it is the dynamics, right? It's loud, it's soft, it's a little bit of everything, which actually makes your ear, for the listener, a little bit more interested in what's going on because it's not necessarily the same every time, or just the same, you know, throughout. So I constructed, talking is hard, I constructed this groove that has some chords and some of these kind of single note, ghost noted, muted little parts. So I'm gonna go ahead and play it for you, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, cool. So there was our track. I'll just teach you the parts. Some of them I kind of already showed you. But this first, it's split into two sections. The A section is this D9 chord. We're going to slide in from a half step below just because it's cool and it adds flavor. So we'll go. Right? That's the general rhythm. I threw in that other lick right after it. So let's take this one more time, and then combine it with the single note riff, which is played like this. So what I did, those are kind of where those ghost notes are. You can even do less than that. So if I were to play this without fretting any notes, so it's almost like if I were to play all the notes, right, which is cool, but cool. So that's that little bit, and then I throw in some more ninth chord slides, just that little James Brown feel. Now you can actually play this riff down in this position too, if you want to do that. I like it up here because I like the way these strings sound. They're just a little thicker, a little meatier. Okay, what's that? Some little double stops. Really, we're just playing up off of the D major scale, which I harmonized in seconds, or in double stops here. So it's like an E minor if you want to think of it that way. Half step up to F and then to F sharp. So, and I'm just doing that to replace that sonically in the groove. So, and actually we're going to talk about some stuff like this later on, kind of how to figure out where to put your licks in which part of your groove. So here we go. And on those double stops, I'm using upstrokes. And the reason is I feel like I get a little bit more thwack out of my right hand because I'm kind of pulling away and up and away on those strings a little bit. It gives it a nice flavor. Okay, the next part of the groove has a little bit more of those single note mutes, single note ghost notes. With our little ninth chord there. So let's take apart this riff. We're in the key of D still, so starts on C. There's your ghost note. It's not that, it's... So the C, the next time I play it, is actually what's ghosted. So we're going to hear the C the first time, but the next time we're not really going to hear it. Do you see the difference? Versus. So the second time has the ghost note in it. That's what you want. And I did this little maneuver from B to C. What's important about it, it has that little muted ghost note in the middle between B and C. So. And then there to hit the ninth chord. So you put it all together. Cool. So the main thing to keep in mind with all this stuff, first of all, you can choose which notes you want to ghost and which notes you don't, just for your own flavor. But with the right hand, everything has to have that swung bounce. What's cool about it is there's on the track, there's a shaker that's very clearly swinging. So you'll be able to lock into that pretty good. Plus there's a bass line that you can double. It's there to help you, because it helps me every time. So I'm going to go ahead and play this track again, and then we can start playing it together. Cool, so while you guys are checking out this track and playing to it, just remember, dynamics are really important. So a lighter touch is probably going to help you navigate some of these little riffs and chord slides, and particularly the mutes and the ghost notes. What I mean with lighter touches, you don't have to just power through the thing with both hands. Really think about syncing into the groove and locking in with that backbeat and the bass line, and the shaker's there to help you stay with the time. This is actually great practice. Once you nail this riff, turn off the track and play it to a metronome and see if you can duplicate the same feel. Because right now the track is really helping you swing, but to determine your swingability, turn off the track and do it to just a click. I think this track is at 92 BPM, which is pretty moderate. I think you'll be able to nail it then. Just remember, don't power through it. Light, bouncy, effortless, funky. All right, grab your guitar, let's play this thing together.